Everyone wants the secret strategy. The one setup that never fails. The perfect entry. The magic indicator. The formula that'll finally make trading easy. But here's the brutal truth. That strategy doesn't exist. And deep down you already know that. Because if it did, every trader would be rich. And yet most aren't. Why? Because the market doesn't reward knowledge. It rewards discipline. Let me tell you something that'll sting a little. It's not your system holding you back. It's you. See, most traders are addicted, not to money, but to searching. They hop from setup to setup like gamblers changing tables. Moving averages one week, order flow the next. Indicators, signals, Discord alerts. Always convinced the next tweak will fix everything. But the truth is, the more you chase perfection, the further you drift from mastery. Because mastery doesn't come from discovering new strategies. It comes from executing one. Flawlessly, repeatedly, patiently. Think about a professional athlete. A boxer doesn't learn a new punch every day. He throws the same combinations for years until they're automatic. Until fatigue, pressure, and emotion can't break his form. That's what real traders do. They don't trade better strategies. They trade better versions of themselves. And that's the part most people can't face, because it forces you to admit something uncomfortable. If you're not consistent, it's not because your strategy doesn't work. It's because you don't. You break your rules. You overtrade. You size up when you shouldn't. You chase. You hesitate. You improvise. You don't have a strategy problem. You have a self-management problem. And until you fix that, no system in the world can save you. Because trading is not about finding certainty in the market. It's about finding consistency in yourself. That's the lie most traders never escape. Believing the answer is out there. It's not. It's built day by day inside your habits. And in the next chapter, we'll uncover why those habits, or lack of them, quietly decide who survives this game. And who burns out. Everyone talks about how to start trading. No one talks about how to stay a trader. The truth? Most don't. Over 90% of retail traders disappear within 2 years. They vanish. Blow up, burn out, quit. And the reason isn't a bad market or bad luck or a broken system. It's this. They can't stay emotionally consistent. They win a few trades and suddenly they're a genius. They lose one and suddenly they're spiraling. They overtrade when they feel behind. They size up when they feel invincible. And eventually, they lose control. Not because they're not smart. Not because they didn't learn. But because they stopped doing the small things that got them there in the first place. Let me explain. Think of a professional athlete, a boxer. What happens if he stops doing road work? Stops shadowboxing? Stops drilling footwork? He doesn't fall apart overnight. But slowly, his timing slips. His balance weakens. His instincts are dull. Then one day he steps into the ring, and he gets knocked out by someone hungrier, sharper, and more disciplined. That's what happens to traders too. They start off focused. They journal, review charts, take clean trades, but then they get a few wins. Confidence spikes. They cut corners, skip reviews, and are late. Then they lose. Get angry. Start forcing setups, and the spiral begins. This is the trap. They confuse progress with permanence. They think a good week means they've arrived. They forget that trading, like any performance game, is repetition dependent. It's not the flashy trades that build your edge. It's the boring habits, the journal review, the risk check, the morning scan, the trade log. These are your push-ups, your shadow boxing, your fundamentals. When you skip them, you don't just lose discipline, you lose your edge. And once that edge dulls, the market punishes you fast. Let's be clear. The market doesn't care what you did last week. It doesn't care how much potential you have. It doesn't even care how good your strategy is. It only responds to consistency. So why do most traders fade out? Because they stop being consistent with themselves. They start breaking promises. I'll only take A+ setups. I won't revenge trade today. I'll size down until I recover. And every time they don't follow through, their confidence erodes. Their execution degrades. Their results implode. Not because the market turned on them, but because they stopped doing what works. Here's the truth most won't say. Success in trading is boring. It's routine, repetitive, methodical. It's not adrenaline. It's not fireworks. It's not chaos. It's discipline in the details. The traders who last are the ones who train like athletes. They treat every day as practice. Every setup is an execution test. Every review is an opportunity to refine. They don't fade because they don't flinch. And in the next chapter, we'll learn how the best performers in high-stress environments, from pilots to poker players, manage pressure by controlling when they act, not how much they do. Let's go there next. If I told you that casinos and professional traders have the same business model, would you believe me? Because they do. Both play a game of probability, both operate in uncertainty, and both know one undeniable truth. You don't have to know the outcome to make money. You just have to know your odds and execute them without emotion. That's it. That's the entire business. But here's the difference between a casino and a retail trader. The casino runs on rules. The trader runs on feelings. Casinos don't sit there guessing whether the next card will be red or black. They don't freak out after a few bad spins of the wheel. They don't change their game plan because one gambler got lucky. They just keep playing their edge over and over. Relentless, predictable, unemotional. That's why the casino always wins. Now let's look at you, the trader. You win 3 trades in a row, and suddenly you think you've cracked the code. You up your size. You ignore your stops. Then you take one big loss and it shakes your soul. Now you're scared to take the next trade. See the problem? You're gambling like the player, not operating like the house. And the market? The market is the ultimate casino. It rewards the operators and devours the gamblers. Let me show you what that means. Imagine you own a casino. Player walks in and bets $10,000 on red. You don't panic. You don't pray. You don't care, because you know statistically you'll make 5% on every dollar wagered over time. Not today, not this spin, but over time. That's how you need to think as a trader. Not will this trade win, but if I take 100 of these trades following my rules, will my edge pay out? That's probability thinking, and that's how professionals survive for decades. They're not in the business of being right. They're in the business of executing right. There's a massive difference. Traders who chase being right obsess over the outcome of every trade. Traders who execute right obsess over process, entries, exits, risk, and repetition. One burns out, the other compounds. And here's the irony. Casinos don't celebrate a single winning spin. They celebrate volume because they know the more spins they see, the closer they get to their edge playing out. As a trader, it's the same. Your edge only matters when you give it enough repetitions. If you keep changing your system after every drawdown, you never let your probability work. You reset your edge every time you panic. You become the gambler walking away from the table right before the odds turn in your favor. Professionals don't do that. They've built systems to protect their psychology. They know losses are part of the math. They know every single trade is just one data point in a massive statistical curve. The only thing that matters is execution consistency. Because if your process is solid, your results will take care of themselves, just like the casinos. But if your process breaks under emotion, you'll never see your edge unfold long enough to matter. So here's your takeaway. Stop trying to predict the next move. Start building habits that let you play your edge, again and again, no matter what. Because in trading, the question isn't, did you win? The real question is, did you execute like the house? And in the next chapter, we'll see exactly how 2 traders with the same system can end up with completely different fates. One burns out chasing outcomes. The other builds an empire through consistency. Let's meet Trader A and Trader B. Let me introduce you to 2 traders, Trader A and Trader B. They start with the same capital, same market, same amount of time, same tools. But one of them will blow up within a year. The other will build slow, steady, scalable success. And the difference has nothing to do with intelligence and everything to do with repetition. Let's start with Trader A. Trader A is obsessed with the new indicator, a new strategy, new YouTube guru. Every time he hits a losing streak, he switches systems. Every time he gets bored, he tweaks entries. He's always backtesting something new, but never committing long enough to master anything. He's in 20 Discord groups, watches 3 streams at once, and treats trading like a buffet. Sampling everything, devouring nothing. To him, repetition feels like confinement. He wants excitement, innovation, freedom. But here's what he doesn't see. Every tweak resets the learning curve. Every switch delays mastery. Every upgrade dilutes focus. So he stays stuck in the cycle, always busy, rarely better. He's chasing edge. But what he really needs is discipline. Now meet Trader B. Trader B picked one strategy. Maybe it's breakouts. Maybe it's supply and demand. Doesn't matter. He chose it, tested it, tuned it, and now he executes it. Every day the same way. Same rules, same risk, same review process. Over and over and over again. To the outside world, it looks boring. But inside that boredom, it is scalability, clarity, freedom. Because Trader B knows repetition isn't restriction, it's refinement. He's not reacting to every red day. He's not jumping strategies because of one drawdown. He's locked into process, not outcome. And because of that, he's building something Trader A can't even see. Here's the difference. Trader A's identity is tied to results. He needs to feel like he's progressing, even if that means constant reinvention. Trader B's identity is tied to process. He knows progress comes from doing the same high-quality reps, even when it feels repetitive. One is outcome-focused. The other is performance-focused. One seeks dopamine. The other seeks discipline. This is what I call the repetition divide. It's the invisible fork in the road where traders either double down on process, refine it, master it, and scale it, or else get distracted, discouraged, and derailed by every shiny object that promises faster results. And make no mistake, this divide determines who survives, because the trader who can repeat excellence day in and day out, even when it's boring, is the one who compounds wealth, not overnight, but inevitably. So ask yourself, are you rewriting your playbook every week? Or are you running the same plays with greater and greater precision? Are you chasing variety? Or are you chasing consistency? Because real power in this game doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from executing one thing better than anyone else. And that's what Trader B figured out. That in trading, just like in sports, music, combat, or chess, mastery belongs to the one who can repeat without deviation. So before you tweak your setup again, ask yourself if the problem is really the strategy, or just your inability to stick with one. In the next chapter, we'll visit one of the most extreme cautionary tales in trading history. A man who had all the talent in the world. But he lost it all because he couldn't master his own mind. Let's talk about Jesse Livermore and the madness that comes from never stepping off the battlefield. If there's one habit that separates traders who survive from those who vanish, it's not intelligence. It's not a prediction. It's not even skill. It's process discipline. The ability to follow your rules, not when it's easy, but especially when it's not. That's what outlasts every market cycle, every crash, every bull run, and every bubble. Because in trading, the market changes. The conditions change. The crowd changes. But you can't. You have to stay grounded in the one thing that doesn't move, your process. Let's go back to one of the greatest experiments in trading history. Richard Dennis and the Turtle Traders. The year was 1983. Richard Dennis, a commodities trader who turned $1,600 into over $200 million, was in a debate with his partner, William Eckhart. Eckhart believed that great traders were born. Dennis believed they could be taught. So they ran an experiment. They took a group of total beginners, a blackjack player, a security guard, and a teacher, and trained them in his exact rules. Entries, exits, and risk management. Written down, mechanical, and emotionless. Then he gave them real capital. And within 5 years, those so-called turtles made over $175 million. Not because they were geniuses, not because they had insider info, but because they followed the process. Every rule, every time. They didn't chase. They didn't predict. They didn't think they were smarter than the system. They executed, and the system paid them. Meanwhile, thousands of traders outside that experiment were doing the exact opposite. Breaking rules, improvising, and over-leveraging. And they lost. That's the paradox of trading discipline. The more boring your routine becomes, the more consistent your results get. Because the market doesn't reward excitement. It rewards execution. Now look at another name, George Soros. He's remembered for breaking the Bank of England. But the secret wasn't that he predicted right. It's that he managed risk right. Soros used to say, "It's not about whether you're right or wrong. It's about how much money you make when you're right." and how much you lose when you're wrong. That's process discipline at the highest level. He didn't fall in love with a position. He didn't marry a bias. He followed a principle. Cut losses fast, scale winners with control. And because of that, he could play the game longer than everyone else. That's what process discipline really buys you: time. It keeps you in the arena while everyone else self-destructs. Because the truth is, most traders don't lose because of bad setups. They lose because they stop following their own systems. They tweak rules after every drawdown. They double down after every loss. They trade bigger when they should trade smaller. They let emotion rewrite their process in real time. And emotion, my friend, is the destroyer of edge. You can't predict the market, but you can control yourself within it. That's what the greats understand. Dennis proved discipline could be taught. Soros proved discipline could scale. Every elite trader since has proven discipline can survive. It's not the smartest who win. It's the ones who can stay consistent through both chaos and calm. Think of it like flying. Pilots don't improvise midair. They don't decide to try something new during turbulence. They run checklists, procedures, repetition. Because discipline isn't restriction. It's freedom through structure. And that's the irony. The traders who crave freedom the most, financial freedom, emotional freedom, time freedom, only get it when they build the discipline to earn it. The habit that outlasts every market isn't luck or intuition. It's a process, executed the same way every single day, no matter how you feel. Because feelings are temporary. But your process, that's your foundation. And in the next chapter, we'll look at how world-class performers in every field, athletes, soldiers, even chess masters, train their minds to make that discipline second nature. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on systemized repetition. Let's step into that mindset next. An elite trader doesn't operate like a hobbyist. They operate like an athlete, because trading, at its core, is a performance sport. You're managing risk, reacting under pressure, making split-second decisions with real consequences. Just like a fighter in the ring, just like a quarterback on 4th and long, just like a tennis player on match point. And just like athletes, the best traders don't rely on motivation. They train their nervous systems. Think about a boxer. He doesn't wake up hoping to feel good before he steps in the ring. He doesn't say, "I'll throw a good jab if I'm in the mood today." He drills, he shadows, he spars, day in, day out. Not because he's always excited, but because he knows that repetition under pressure builds automaticity. When the adrenaline hits, the crowd roars and the lights are blinding. Only his training shows up. Now let's bring it back to trading. You think you'll follow your stop loss when it feels right? Do you think you'll size down after a big win if you're on an emotional high? Not a chance. In the moment, emotion takes over. Your nervous system floods with cortisol. And if you haven't trained discipline into your muscle memory, you'll crack. Just like the amateur fighter who panics after one punch lands, you'll abandon your plan, chase setups, revenge trade, burnout. The professionals are different. They treat preparation, review, and recovery as sacred. Preparation, they don't just look at charts. They prepare mentally. They set rules, define risk, clarify goals like a fighter getting his mind right before the bell rings. Review, they study themselves. They review trades like athletes watch game tape, not to beat themselves up, but to improve execution. Recovery, and when they're done, they shut it down, they rest, because fatigue is the silent killer of consistency. Ask any athlete, you're not judged by your best day. You're judged by how well you can repeat your baseline. Under pressure, the same goes for trading. The athlete's mind doesn't chase perfection. It trains for stability. Not how do I win today, but how do I stay sharp this week, this month, this year? And when you take that mindset into your trading, you stop being reactive. You start being prepared. You stop chasing dopamine. You start chasing discipline, because consistency isn't a feeling. It's a skill. And in the next chapter, we'll get practical. Because now it's time to build the system that protects that consistency. A framework that removes emotion, reinforces process, and saves your sanity. Especially on the days your mind wants to do anything but follow the rules. Let's build it. Everyone talks about emotional control in trading, but control doesn't mean suppression. It means regulation. Because profitable traders aren't emotionless machines. They're humans who've learned how to stay centered, while the rest of the market panics. That's emotional equilibrium. And it's the real edge most traders never build. Let me explain. When the average trader wins, they feel invincible. They start increasing risk, chasing more trades, and getting high on dopamine. When they lose, they spiral, questioning every rule, every setup, every decision. Their emotional state swings like a pendulum, from euphoria to despair, confidence to chaos. And you can't trade well from either extreme, because both lead to the same place, inconsistency. You can't make clear decisions when you're chasing excitement, and you can't follow your plan when you're afraid to lose. That's why the best traders live in the middle, in emotional neutrality. They've trained their minds the same way elite soldiers and athletes do, to stay calm, collected, and deliberate, no matter the environment. Think about a sniper. He's lying in the dirt for hours, maybe days, waiting for one shot. His heart rate is steady. His breathing was measured. There's no rush, no panic, no excitement, just stillness, just focus. Because emotion at that level is a liability. Now translate that to trading. Every candle, every tick, every swing is designed to trigger you. Greed, fear, FOMO, regret. The market's job is to make you react. Your job is to not take the bait. And the only way to do that consistently is through routine. Routine builds stability. Stability builds neutrality. And neutrality builds edge. It's why professional traders stick to rituals. Same morning prep, same journaling, same execution rules. They're not obsessed with control. They're obsessed with consistency of state. Because your emotional baseline determines your trading baseline. If your emotions spike, your performance dips. If your emotions stay stable, your performance stabilizes. It's that simple and that difficult. The irony is this: most traders crave excitement. They want the thrill, the rush, the adrenaline. But professionals, they crave peace. They understand that boredom in trading isn't a problem. It's a sign of mastery. Because boredom means you're not chasing highs anymore. You're operating with emotional discipline, and that's where the magic happens. When your reactions no longer control your results. When you don't need the market to make you feel anything. You just show up, execute, detach, repeat. That's emotional equilibrium. And it's what lets you survive the storms without losing your balance. In the next chapter, we'll take that mindset even deeper, shifting your focus from chasing profits to mastering the one thing that truly compounds over time: your process. Every trader starts with the same goal: make money. And that's exactly why most of them fail. Because profit, while seductive, is a lagging indicator. It's the scoreboard, not the playbook. And if you chase the scoreboard, you stop playing the game correctly. Let me say it plainly. If you chase profit, you lose discipline. But if you chase process, profit follows. Picture two traders again. Trader A is glued to his P&L. Every tick matters. Every red trade shakes his confidence. Every green trade inflates his ego. He judges success by outcome. Did I win or lose? And that makes him fragile. Because even when he follows his system perfectly, if the result is red, he feels like a failure. He second guesses, tweaks his rules, overreacts. His focus is on the result, not the execution. Now trader B, he tracks different numbers. Did he follow his risk plan? Did he avoid overtrading? Did he take only setups that met his checklist? Did he stop at his max loss? He's focused on process metrics. Because he knows, if he can win the process, the profit takes care of itself. When he ends the day red but followed every rule, that's a win. When he takes a clean loss, logs it, and moves on without emotion, that's growth. And when he does it over and over again, profits start showing up without chasing them. Here's the shift. Profit is a byproduct. Process is the business. If you want to trade like a professional, you have to start measuring like one. Pros don't ask, how much did I make today? They ask, did I execute cleanly? Did I stick to my plan? Did I stay emotionally neutral? That's the real scoreboard. Because profit can lie. A lucky win can reward bad behavior. A clean loss can mask discipline. But the process is honest. It tells you exactly who you are and exactly how to improve. This is where the transformation happens. When you stop chasing quick wins and start building sustainable habits. When you detach from needing every trade to work and focus on executing like a sniper, patient, methodical, unshaken, that's when you level up. That's when your identity shifts from trader to professional. In the next chapter, we'll bring that identity shift full circle. Because this is no longer about just avoiding burnout or trading better. It's about becoming someone who doesn't need the market to feel in control. Someone who trades with clarity, detachment, and long-term vision. Let's step into that final transformation. Most traders want to win now. Right here. Right this week. Right this trade. They measure success by daily P&L, by how green the screen looks, by how much adrenaline they feel when they nail a setup. But the market doesn't care about your urgency. It doesn't reward intensity. It rewards endurance. Because in this game, you don't win in the market. You win by staying in it. That's the part no one wants to hear. But it's the part that decides everything. Every trader gets lucky. Every trader has hot streaks. Every trader can look like a genius for a few months. But longevity, that's where the truth reveals itself. Because the market has infinite patience. And if you don't, it'll eat you alive. Let me tell you something most traders never understand until it's too late. You're not in a sprint. You're in a marathon with no finish line. The goal isn't to crush the next month. The goal is to still be here 5 years from now, mentally sharp, financially intact, and emotionally stable. Because the traders who survive the longest always end up winning the most. Think of Jesse Livermore. Brilliant mind, legendary trader. He made and lost multiple fortunes because he couldn't play the long game. He mastered the market but never mastered himself. He's the perfect cautionary tale. Talent and timing mean nothing without longevity of focus. Now look at the professionals who thrive for decades. The fund managers, the risk managers, and the quiet, consistent ones you never see on YouTube. They all have one thing in common. They think in decades, not days. They understand that success in trading is less about how high you climb, and more about how many falls you can recover from. Because anyone can get rich fast. Few can stay rich slowly. That's why mental capital is everything. When your emotional reserves run dry, your decision-making collapses. Even if your system is perfect, you start cutting winners short, holding losers too long, and forcing trades that don't exist. You begin trading from exhaustion, not execution. And that's how good traders vanish. The solution? Treat your longevity as your greatest asset. Protect your energy the same way you protect your capital. Respect drawdowns. Take breaks. Guard your focus like it's your edge, because it is. Every great trader eventually learns this truth. The market is not your opponent. Time is. And if you can outlast time, if you can play the game longer, smarter, and calmer, you'll find yourself standing in a field of fallen competitors. Because survival is victory in this game, and those who last always end up owning the scoreboard. In the final chapter, we'll bring it all together, shifting from trader to operator, from reaction to precision, and from surviving the game to commanding it. You used to be a reactor. You chased setups. You chased green days. You chased dopamine, attention, and revenge. Every candle felt like a threat. Every loss felt personal. Every win made you feel untouchable, until the market humbled you the next day. But that's not you anymore, because now you've shifted. You've become an operator. An operator doesn't react. He executes. He doesn't trade because the chart looks interesting. He trades because the conditions match the plan. He doesn't wake up searching for hype. He wakes up committed to habit. An operator sees the market, not as a battlefield filled with danger, but as a dojo, a place to practice, refine, and master himself. He knows the real opponent isn't volatility. It's emotion. It's inconsistency. It's the inner urge to break discipline just this once. But an operator doesn't flinch, because he's trained. You used to be a slave to the market's mood. If the candles pumped, you chased. If they dumped you, you panicked. You'd overtrade to fill the silence. You'd revenge trade to fix the pain. But now you sit with calm. You move when it's time. You stop when the edge is gone. You're no longer addicted to outcome. You're loyal to execution. This is the identity shift that actually matters. Not going from beginner to advanced. Not learning one more strategy. It's going from emotionally entangled to be structurally free. See, most traders are locked in a loop of survival. They trade to feel something, to prove something, to avoid feeling like they're falling behind. But operators? They trade to express mastery, to refine skill, to build long-term stability. And here's the secret. Operators last. Reactors don't. Reactors burn hot and fast. Operators play for decades. One seeks intensity. The other is sustainability. One trades like a gambler, the other like a surgeon. So let this be your final shift. Stop asking, how can I win today? Start asking, how can I execute better than yesterday? Stop chasing hype. Start building habits. Because this game was never about finding the perfect trade. It was about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need the market to feel in control. You are no longer just a trader. You are an operator. Disciplined, deliberate, detached, and from this day forward, you don't need the market to validate you. Because every day you step into the dojo, you know exactly who you are, and that's the real win.